Tucker, who wheels for three, missed it, contested rebound. P.J. Tucker's got it. He'll run out the clock. 50 years in the waiting. Giannis Antetokounmpo scores 50 in an MVP performance, delivering the 2021 NBA championship to the Milwaukee Bucks.
The Bucks win the NBA title behind Giannis's 50-point Game 6 performance, and there's no other place to start them with Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks clinching their second NBA title and first since the 1970-71 season. Giannis had an all-time performance, becoming the seventh player to score 50 points in an NBA Finals game, joining the likes of Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Jerry West. For Milwaukee, the 49 seasons between championships becomes the longest stretch in NBA history, and they become just the fifth team to win a title after going down 2-0 in the series. Nets are favorites to win the 2021-2022 title. Sticking to the hardwood, odds for next season's champion have already been released, and the Brooklyn Nets are the favorites at Caesars Sportsbook by William Hill, currently sitting at plus 225 to raise the Larry O'Brien Trophy in the 21-2022 season. Brooklyn is followed by the Lakers, Bucks, and Warriors. The Suns are tied with the Jazz for the fifth shortest odds, currently sitting at plus 1,500. Clemson's Dabo Swinney not in favor of inevitable 12-team college football playoff. Moving over to college football here, Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney said Tuesday neither he nor his players are in favor of an expanded 12-team college football playoff, but he does acknowledge that change is inevitable. Swinney expressed concern at playing more games and would go on to say that he doesn't know if there's 12 teams good enough. Clemson has thrived in the college football playoff era with 6 straight appearances and 2 national champions. SportsCenter brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Be your own hotspot with Straight Talk's ultimate unlimited plan. Get 10 gigs of hotspot data for just $55 a month, all on America's largest, most dependable network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. Compatible device required. See straighttalk.com.
The first thing is you just feel so bad for him because he's doing everything right. He's working hard.
This is brutal for both the Rams and for Akers.
Right now, the plan is to stay in-house to get a look at the running backs they have on the roster. That starts with Darrell Henderson.
It's a big loss, but it is an opportunity for others.
Oh, not a good day yesterday for the Rams. Not even a little. And since it is time to talk football, I should remind you, training camp starts today for the Dallas Cowboys, tomorrow for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the rest of the league report next week because those two teams are in the Hall of Fame game. And so, time to talk a little NFL. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests join us on the Goodyear Hotline. I'm Shay Cornett. He is Bart Scott. We're hanging out this morning, filling in for the guys. It's a Wednesday morning. A lot of NBA talk, but we got to switch gears to the NFL. Yesterday, Adam Schefter reported that Cam Akers, the Rams running back, he's going into his second year, tore his Achilles. He's expected to miss the entire 2021 season. He suffered the injury while working out and underwent testing to confirm the diagnosis, which again says that he does indeed have a torn Achilles. And so the Rams now will look elsewhere for their lead feature back. But before we get into all of that, let's hear from his head coach. That would be Cam Akers' head coach, Sean McVay. Here he was yesterday on the Max Kellerman show talking about what a loss this is for the team.
The way he was playing at the end of the year where he can play all 3 downs and you can really give him a heavy workload and he just gets better as he accumulates touches and carries, that's hard to find. You know, it felt similar to what Todd had done for so many years for us a couple years back. And I think, you know, it's on the record about how highly I think of Cam and what a complete player I think he is. It's a big loss, but it is an opportunity for others.
Okay. And so now who's going to fill that void? Darrell Henderson should probably get the first opportunity, right, Bart? Yes. He'll be the number one back. But behind him, not much insurance. Xavier Jones and Raymond Calais, they have never taken an NFL carry in a regular season game, ever, never. And then there's Otis Anderson, an undrafted free agent rookie that they could look to as well, and Jake Funk. 3 of those 4 guys I just listed are either 7th or 8th round picks or undrafted free agents. Like, it's a little bleak now at the running back position for the Los Angeles Rams, the team I know you thought was going to win the division.
Yeah, well, I still think they're going to win in division. They just ran into some adversity, and they're going to have to learn how to be, unique in different ways. Yeah, I think you give Henderson, you give Jones, you give Funk, you give them the opportunity to prove themselves, but you definitely going to make sure that you go get you a veteran out there because the most important thing is making sure that you have protection on 3rd downs to be able to pick up blitz packages on Matthew Stafford, because if Matthew Stafford gets hurt, then all your dreams are done. That's the one player that they can't replace. So you think about, who could potentially can be out there a little bit. I know Le'Veon Bell, he's 29 years old. It didn't work out well, in Kansas City. We thought it was more about the Jets than it was about him, but when he went to the best team in the league, he didn't show himself well. You still have Shady McCoy out there who may have some interest in still playing, especially for a team that's Super Bowl contender. He's went from one Super Bowl to the next Super Bowl, and sometimes you become good luck Chuck that way.
Yeah.
And also, you think about a guy like Duke Johnson.
Yeah.
Right, a guy like Duke Johnson that's really young. Houston has a bunch of running backs, and it's a trade to be put out there, right? And so I think they go about it that way, but they give these guys the first opportunity. But you can't blink. Get used to this early. It's good to have to adjust if you have to adjust before training camp, so you can still have opportunities to go out there and get people that's available. As people are going to get cut during training camp as well, you'll get some opportunities to pick up a supplemental piece somewhere.
I like those three veterans you just laid out, and obviously it sounds like, considering they have their stable of backs right now, are all very, very young and inexperienced, and so they're likely going to have to look elsewhere to replace Cam Akers. Well, what does Sean McVay think about that? Let's take a listen to the Rams head coach again.
I think you want to take a step back. I think the immediacy of it is your first inclination is, okay, who do we have to replace it? And then what you do feel good about is we've got some young depth on the roster, and it'll earn guys an opportunity to really see, all right, how do they handle a little bit more of a workload? How are they able to handle some competitive opportunities we'll have, whether it be in the preseason or practicing against the Cowboys and the Raiders? And so we've got some young backs on our roster that I'm intrigued about seeing how they handle this opportunity. I don't know that the veteran route is something that we would rule out, but it's not something that we're immediately looking to address right now, with it just occurring yesterday to Cam.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously he's not like on the phone yesterday when he's dealing with the Cam Akers situation, but you have to assume it's going to happen sooner or later once he does get a good look at these backs. And again, Darrell Henderson will probably get the first opportunity as the number one running back, and then it's a crapshoot. Xavier Jones, Raymond Calais, again, two guys who have never had a carry in an NFL game, and then Otis Anderson, an undrafted free agent rookie. And so the cupboard is a little bare there.
Yeah.
So how quickly, like you, I'm sure have been in a situation like this before where you have a star on your team, you're going into training camp, and then there's, wide open spaces on the roster. So, like, how soon do you look to fill this void?
Well, first of all, in camp, you need bodies, right? Because you can't put a heavy workload on any player, any position, if you don't have any depth. Right. So they have some young players, but they don't have an experience. But sometimes you just need camp bodies. You have to have people that you can rely on, because you're going to have your first couple of preseason games, and you can't put that many miles. The first couple of days of camp is the most dangerous, right? Because that's where guys are coming off of training and running in shorts and to reacting and put it on the pads. So usually when guys go down, you have the most injuries in training camp at the beginning of training camp. So you want to make sure that you really work these guys in slowly, And listen, right now they have a board of all the potential replacements and free agents and guys that are pending, guys that they believe are going to get cut during camp, or guys that are in fights at other teams that may get beat out by a younger version of themselves, right? I mean, hold up, please. I hope they don't go get Frank Gore. You know what I mean? Frank
Gore, Adrian Peterson, those guys might be aging out a little.
Yeah, a.k.a. Benjamin Button. I don't know if they want to get somebody that old, but I look at a team like the Jets, right? And we know with that new system that they have that Kyle Shanahan sent them that one-cut system, they're going to have, good running backs regardless. But they have tremendous depth. Remember, they brought in Tevin Coleman, right? They drafted Michael Carter, right? Last year, I believe that Josh Adams averaged 6 yards a carry. And then they also have they have 6 yards of carry. So they're going to have 2 or 3 good young running backs that are going to get cut. They drafted Michael P. Ryan the year before. So that's a way where you can make sure that you can solidify and give up a late draft pick to make sure that you get a guy that can play, because they have a resume. But the guy like Ty Johnson averaged 8 yards per carry with the Jets last year. So they have big backs, every type of back that you need. The thing is, you may not be able to replace Cam Akers with